I'm Steve from This Week with Cars, and this week I want to talk about battery chargers. There's three main types of battery chargers: dumb chargers, trickle chargers, and really smart chargers. So I'd like to go over my experience with all kinds of different chargers and explain to you which ones are best and how I use them. The first type of charger is what I would call a dumb charger. And that would be like this right here. I can select either 2 amps or 10 amp charge, and this one also has an engine start option. So if you go to get your car out and it won't start and you want to drive it immediately, get a charger like this. It will be able to put out a lot of power. You can put it to engine start, and that will charge up the battery very quickly so that you can start the car and then go for your drive. These are really handy. Sometimes you need to use these in conjunction with a smart charger, and I'll explain that a little later. And sometimes these little dumb chargers aren't enough. So I also use these big giant dumb chargers, and these will put out about 300 amps, and this will start about anything. So I would recommend the use of the dumb chargers for if you are in a hurry and you need to get the battery charged up quickly. Let's say that you just got home from driving your classic car. What are you going to do? You should probably plug the car into a trickle charger, which will keep the battery topped off while you're not using it. I use several different kinds of trickle chargers, little bricks like this. This one is a 12 volt. This one right here is a 6 volt. I've got an 8 volt version right here. And I also have one here that looks similar, and this one I can switch between 12 volt and 6 volt. All of these real tiny chargers are great because there is one feature of them that you don't find in a lot of the smart chargers, and that's that if the power is cut, they will continue charging. Let me get some of these out of the way. I have here my 12 volt trickle charger. I'm going to plug that in, and then I'm going to plug the other end onto this battery here. As you can see, it is now charging. That yellow light is on. Now if I were to disconnect the power, you can see it turns off, but when the power is reconnected, it starts charging again. That is a major issue with a lot of the smarter chargers. If the power were to get cut, if someone came through and unplugged the cord on you and then plugged it back in, you may come back to a completely dead battery afterwards. So when you're looking for a float charger, definitely get one that turns back on once the power is cut. And of course, the reason they call these trickle chargers is they put out a small amount of power, and once the battery is fully charged, it will stop charging and not overcharge the battery. It will turn on and off periodically to keep the battery charged. If you were to set the battery onto a dummy charger and leave it like that for a long time, you would end up destroying the battery. So picking out a dumb charger and a trickle charger is pretty simple. Any dumb charger will do what it needs to do, and as long as you find a trickle charger that turns back on when the power is cut, you're good to go there. It's when you get into these smart chargers that things get a little different. First of all, a lot of you might be using an Optima battery like this, either a yellow top, a red top, a blue top. You would think that these battery chargers made by Optima are what you would want to charge those batteries. Well, I would say don't. I have 3 of these. I have 2 of the big ones, 1 of the little ones. They've all broken. They didn't last very long. They had different kinds of issues. All the big ones, the screens failed immediately. And I've had problems with all 3 of them freezing up and charging the battery even after the battery was completely charged up. So I would recommend not getting these at all. Our next type of battery charger is the smart chargers. These do everything that the trickle charger does and more. They provide more amperage than the trickle charger, and they may also have features that let you condition the battery. One thing to watch for on these is to see if they will lose their settings once the power is cut and comes back on. If you don't do that, you may come back to a dead battery. So let's connect this one and see what it does. I'll connect it up to the power. First thing I want to do is set the settings that I want. On this Optima, I'll set it to AGM, and let's set it to 8 amps. I'll connect it up to the battery. You can see that now it's charging this battery at 8 amps. Now I'm going to cut the power and we'll see what happens. I cut the power, the battery is maintaining the settings on the charger, and I'll plug it back in and we'll see if it resumes. I plugged it back in. And there you go. Now it's charging again. So this is a battery charger that you could use in place of a trickle charger. One thing that these smart chargers will not do is they will not charge a dead battery if it is completely dead. You will have to use your dumb charger to charge it up somewhat before these will even recognize that there's a battery there and start charging them. It's always a good idea to start with the dumb charger and then switch over to the smart charger, which will charge it correctly to maximum voltage. One charger that's nice is one like this. This can charge both 6 volt and 12 volt, but it does provide a lot more current than a lot of the little ones. This one here will charge up to 20 amps at 12 volts. And I should note that this one also remembers its settings if the power is cut. Probably the top of the line for battery chargers is those made by SeaTech. These have very advanced conditioning modes in it. This one here is 12 volt only, but you can select between a motorcycle battery and a car battery. So if you have a small battery that you don't want to put a very large current on, select the motorcycle size. And then it also has a selection for an AGM type battery like this Optima, and a reconditioning mode if your battery is in poor shape or you discharged it too far. The biggest downside I see to the SeaTech chargers is that they use a proprietary plug instead of the standard plug that most chargers use. It's nice if you have different chargers that they all use the same plug, especially if you get one of the hardwired accessories. Then you can plug this into any charger that you buy. You can't do that with the SeaTechs, mixing them with other different chargers. I should mention that chargers like this, you can get them to charge only 1 battery, charge 2 batteries, 4 batteries, maybe more batteries. One accessory that I do like is this one right here. This takes 1 input and turns it into 2 outputs. I like to use this when I'm charging a 24 volt military truck. That way I can connect up both batteries separately. Of course, you must disconnect them from each other when you use this. So in conclusion, if you have just one vehicle, the SeaTech charger is the way to go. If you have multiple vehicles or need multiple chargers, you may want to go to something that has a standard battery charger connector. That way you can install the same thing onto all of your vehicles. And if you only have a dummy charger or a smart charger, I feel that you need both of them. You could probably get away with just a dummy charger and a float charger, but a smart charger is really nice to maintain the condition of your battery. If you like videos like this, comment below and click subscribe.